Oh, hello, veterans, DKV employees, everybody here at the Veteran Lang YouTube channel. Hey, welcome. Welcome as always. I'm your friendly VA credit attorney, Matthew Lang, here to talk about VA disability in an educational format. Remember, it is educational. I don't do any advising on this channel because I don't know the facts of your case, and I understand that facts of cases vary from person to person. So I don't want to give you something that doesn't fit your case and that ultimately could ruin your case by mistake over this platform here. But I want to educate you in the various things so that when you look at your case, you can go, I think that fits, or maybe that doesn't fit. So maybe I need to go a different way, or maybe that's the way to go. Ultimately educating yourself in the process to know how you can help yourself, or, if you want a representative, there's plenty of VSOs, accredited agents, and attorneys out there like myself. And if you're looking for potential help from myself and my team here, veteranlang.com is where you can find my calendar. Go in there, sign up on that there calendar, and let's have a discussion and see how we can help you. All right, enough of that sales pitch there. I really want to get down to today's topic, but before I do, I want to say thank you, everybody, for the last video, the discussion that really broke out there. I'm hoping that discussion continues. I'm going to go back and read the comments in full. I will apologize. I'm really bad at catching the comments, sometimes timely, or getting through them or responding with the workload that I have back here. But I have noticed them, so I appreciate everybody's conversations there. Again, I'll try to address those, but I hope the conversation continues because I feel like we hit a really good point that can help really alter and smooth out the process probably from the start, along with all the other things that we talk about. So we may even go back in with as that discussion continues on and do more videos kind of around that realm of adversarial, non-adversarial setup. So I appreciate that, everybody. I appreciate the conversation there. So let's get down to it. What's today's topic? Well, today's topic is something I'm seeing more of here in our practice as we help veterans, things that are just kind of popping up more often, things that I've seen, again, when my time in the VA be misunderstood and probably not handled correctly. What am I talking about? Well, I'm talking about this mechanism that is known as a character of discharge determination, a COD. So in the VA benefits world, we often assume that a veteran status is automatic, but for a special category of claimants, or as I'm still going to call you, veterans, those who do not have a standard honorable discharge, or perhaps even a general discharge in some cases, these individuals without, again, this honorable type discharge won't have access to health care or compensation. It's just not guaranteed. It's ultimately going to require a specific legal review. So over the next few minutes, we're going to explore how the COD determinations function as a gatekeeping mechanism, the recent regulatory changes from June 2024 that have expanded some eligibility, and how this process intersects with trauma and toxic exposures. Now, this is just going to be a brief discussion on all that there as we get into it, and hopefully the discussion again breaks out on even this topic here, and we can add more to it. But for now, let's start with the basics. In the eyes of the VA, a veteran is a legal term, not just a reflection of history. Under the standard rule to qualify for benefits, as we've already kind of mentioned, an individual must have been discharged under conditions other than dishonorable, so some sort of honorable type discharge. And most veterans with that honorable or general discharge will walk right through the door in the VA disability world, be able to get their claim worked right away, and then ultimately, with hope and the right evidence, be granted those benefits. Now, the special category of claimants here or as we're still going to call them, veterans, who don't have that honorable discharge, these are the individuals who have, say, an undesirable or a bad conduct or an other than honorable discharge. They generally fall outside the standard framework. For them, the COD determination is a jurisdictional threshold. It's the key that unlocks the gate, determining if their service was honorable for VA purposes, despite whatever is written on the DD 214. So it's crucial to understand that the VA has independent authority. This is independent authority. And when I say independent authority, this is separate authority from, say, the Department of Defense. or other agencies within the government. So when the VA conducts a COD review, they are not changing the military's official records. So keep that in mind, veterans. That is to change your DD-214 or your official military records, that is a whole another jurisdiction outside the VA. That's a whole different path to argue in a whole different direction. But underneath the VA, again, they can determine whether you are honorable for just VA purposes. And when they do that, that's still going to keep your 214 the same. It's not going to change anything. They're just simply simply deciding if you qualify for VA help or not. So this adjudication process the VA has evolved significantly. It no longer is just about the misconduct that led to the discharge. Adjudicators now must look at the totality of circumstances. So I think in a way the totality of circumstances was kind of already always there, but there was definitely some more strict pieces of the law prior to the changes in 2024 that really, I think, focused VA into the idea that this was the event. Perhaps it was some sort of willful misconduct that would automatically just disqualify the veteran to even be honorable for VA purposes. Well, the idea is now we don't stop there, and probably never should have. But now we look at the whole picture. Remember that picture I keep saying that's got to be painted? We've got to look at the whole thing now. What led to that discharge? What led to that moment in time? What led to that action? We're going to get more into that here in a minute here. And as we get more into that, think of questions like this here. VA is going to have to ask these questions or similar questions, and probably actually a lot more. But was the conduct influenced by mental health? Was there an undiagnosed TBI? Was the service member a survivor of military sexual trauma, MST? So ultimately what we're trying to get at here, as I'm really pushing, is that the review's got to look beyond the paper discharge to the human reality of the service. So I'm pointing this to veterans and VA, but VA especially, when you're making these decisions, you've got to remember to go beyond the surface of the paperwork. You've got to look at the totality of the circumstances. And veterans, when I point it to you, I want you to know the totality of circumstances. So if you are in this position where you have to try to show and prove that you are, or you should be, honorable for VA purposes, you got to understand you've got to explain the totality of the circumstances in a way that would convince the VA to make a favorable decision. Now, this may be the most timely part of our discussion. As we mentioned in 2024, and actually effective June 25, 2024, the regulations governing these determinations underwent a massive overhaul. So these new rules created that compelling circumstances exception. This allows adjudicators to grant favorable determinations for service members who might have been barred, again, as we were mentioning, underneath the old and more strict rules. Now, this additionally allows the VA to explicitly remove regulatory bars regarding, say, law changes, things that were illegal or frowned upon years ago that the law has now said, well, that's not a problem. They can remove those bars now. This corrects a long-standing issue within the discharge that the veterans have received. So most importantly, this opens the door for re-adjudication. So let's say, for example, veterans, you were denied benefits years ago. Let's say you tried the COD process, or let's just back it up even further. Let's say you filed a claim for benefits. It was discovered your 214 showed an other than honorable discharge, some sort of dishonorable discharge, prior to, say, 2024, maybe even more years back. But you got denied because of the rules or the laws or the interpretations of everything at the time. Well, the change of law allows the VA to reopen and re-adjudicate now underneath the new laws your COD. So they have to determine if these new standards mean that you now have a valid claim, veterans, and whether those new standards will change the outcome to a favorable decision. VA will have to ultimately say you're honorable for VA purposes if they do. But if they don't change those circumstances, you're likely still looking at no benefits from the VA due to a bad conduct or dishonorable discharge of some sort. Now, I think what I'm really wanting to get highlighted here, and what I'm really trying to highlight, is the idea that a COD determination does not exist in a vacuum. They're really linked to other major issues facing VA, and even toxic exposure. We mentioned MST, maybe TBIs and PTSDs are really big examples here. But if we look at just the idea of what the PACT Act did for us, we see a push for clearer paths to eligibility for the other than honorable veterans here. The logic is really simple. If toxic exposure caused a condition that led to behavioral issues and subsequent discharge, well, the veteran should not be penalized. And that's what we have to keep in mind. Was that exposure something that ultimately changed the behavior of the veteran? Maybe there was some sort of cognitive change, some sort of mental change that led to the reason they were discharged. Now, this could be similar for MST survivors as well. We know that there could be an other than honorable discharge for, say, the result of retaliation of reporting an assault or behavioral changes caused by the trauma itself. And so, again, we're looking at the totality of everything. We have to understand what led us to that point and understand that in a big world here, there could be a lot of reasons that could change behaviors and actions and lead to the reasons for other than honorable discharge. So ultimately, the COD is a process in the whole mechanism of things that allows the VA to acknowledge that narrative that there's something that could have led to that event, and then ultimately grant benefits to those who were excluded previously. Now, you're going to find, depends on what your character of discharge is, veterans, what type of benefits you're eligible for. I'm not going to get a deep dive or really into that part here today. But I think on the basics, understanding an honorable is going to get you everything in the VA world. And then that a honorable for VA purposes will, at the bare minimum, get you possibly health care, which should get you at least health care and disability benefits. Now, this is something we can go into detail later on, though. So in summary, to keep the video short, the character of discharge determination, or the COD, is really the VA's way of liberalizing access to benefits. They allow the system to account for the human cost of, things like war, the mental health struggles, the trauma, the exposure we talked about. All of this that often results in administrative discharges. So with the June 2024 regulations, the path is wider, veterans. It's wider than it ever has been. And perhaps this is why we're seeing a lot more of these here in our practice as we help veterans get these overturned and become honorable for VA purposes. So I'm going to encourage all of you who have a dishonorable discharge or something other than honorable to have your case reviewed. Have it reviewed. Let the VA go back in, take a look at it again, and see if these new laws don't by chance change the outcome. Maybe you are now honorable for VA purposes. With that, everybody, I thank you for your time with this short video here in understanding a little bit more about the character of discharge, why it's there. The main purposes of it being a VA jurisdiction issue that doesn't change the DD 214, but veterans could get you benefits that you're entitled to ultimately in the end. So as always, check out the other videos. Don't forget to please subscribe if you like these videos. If you want to hear more, please comment on what you'd like to hear. I'm always about providing education, especially in what you are interested in. Otherwise, I've got plenty of topics. As always, I will continue on back here. Don't forget to share, like, all the other good stuff to continue to provide this platform where we can educate in order to make the process smoother between veterans and VA alike. Thank you again, everybody. See you next Tuesday.